Hello and welcome to TVC News Hour. I am Azeezat Olaoluwa. The top stories. Inspector General of Police obeys presidential order to overhaul operations of Special Anti-Robbery Squad, appoints new commissioner to head unit. Independent National Electoral Commission registers 23 new parties, extends voter registration by 2 weeks. On the foreign scene, 22 persons confirmed dead, 16 others injured in the Italian bridge collapse. In sports, Nigeria Football Federation hopeful Super Falconets will progress at the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup in France. Details coming up. Thank you for joining us. Now, a few hours after the acting president, Yemi Osinbajo, gave orders to overhaul the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, has complied. SARS is now renamed as Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad, and a new Commissioner of Police has been appointed to head the unit. The Commissioner of Police will be answerable to the Inspector General of Police through the Deputy IGP, Department of Operations. It will now operate under the Department of Operations Force Headquarters in Abuja. The acting president also directed the National Human Rights Commission to set up a committee that would conduct a nationwide investigation on the alleged unlawful activities of SARS. Now, this, he says, will afford members of the public opportunity to present their grievances with a view to ensuring redress. Well, voter registration in Nigeria will now be concluded at the end of August. This is because the Independent National Electoral Commission extended the exercise by 2 weeks. This comes just days after civil society organizations met with officials of the commission to call for an extension of the deadline to enable more Nigerians participate in it. Meanwhile, the INEC has approved the registration of 23 associations as political parties. This is coming 6 months to the 2019 general election. The national chairman and national secretaries of the 23 newly registered parties are to receive their respective certificates of registration at an event scheduled to hold on August the 16th at the INEC conference room in Abuja. Now, this brings the total number of political parties in the country to 91. Uneasy calm pervaded the National Assembly as the March touted emergency seating of both chambers to consider issues of national importance failed to hold. National Assembly correspondent Joke Adisa was at the complex and now reports.
It is exactly 1 week of the invasion of the parliament by hooded security personnel. Hopes of a likely reconvening were raised last week by Deputy Speaker Yusuf Lasson. It was emphatic both houses of the parliament will sit this week to consider, among others, INEC's budget for the 2019 general election and the borrowing plan approval.
The executive has proposed a environment of which INEC has taken a front burner, and so we met yesterday. Some leaders of the National Assembly met yesterday with the INEC chairman, and we have decided, and you are going to hear from us, we are likely to reconvene either Tuesday or Wednesday to specifically consider that request.
But a press statement jointly signed by the spokespersons of the Senate President and Speaker House of Representatives on Tuesday insists no date has yet been fixed for reconvening. Both presiding officers said the proposed environment has been referred to relevant committees for legislative work. Lawmakers cited at the House of Representatives wing of the National Assembly this Tuesday shared their thoughts on the perceived stalemate.
Since January, they ought to have forwarded this budget to us. And probably the executive was not even thinking about the election. And that's what I see in it. And you could also see the language of the document brought by Mr. President. It doesn't also give a complete roadmap of peace in that direction.
How do you mean?
You see, why I say so is because when you want to talk in terms of the environment, you want to remove a budget of a particular federal constituencies and you don't want to remove the one from your own personal federal constituency. So how does it justify? Is it more logical? And that's why I tell you probably, even when that budget was brought lately, was not brought in good faith.
If Mr. President made mistake, so the same thing the National Assembly made mistake, we didn't do our job the way we're supposed to, because we need to call the attention of the executive. Look, you didn't bring anything for INEC. And we have those committees in the House of Rep and it's a similar committee in the Senate. So I think the Senate President or the leadership should please do everything humanly possible to bury their ego, to keep their ego aside, to appreciate the fact that Nigeria is greater than any individual, not only the Senate President, even Mr. President.
They also offered perspectives on the power game playing out and profiled the way forward.
And most of these people that are calling for resignation of the Senate President have also changed one party to another. So under what moral ground? Is it the APC position as a Senate President? No. It's a position meant for any members of the Senate. The Senate President position is a position meant for any member, whether you are from the smallest of party, as a Senate, as long as your colleagues have confidence in you that you can pilot them, you will be selected, irrespective of the political party.
By September, take it or leave it, we are going to reconvene. If they want to impeach him, they will continue, they will impeach him. There are things you cannot stop. It's better you face it the way it comes. Come, if it is impeachment, impeachment. If it is proceeding, let's proceed. If we reconvene in September, will that stop his fate?
These experienced parliamentary reporters also speak of their understanding of the National Assembly debacle.
The fact is that there's an issue on ground, right? The issue of supplementary budget and also the issue of impeachment like you're talking about. So if they don't meet, how would they resolve it? You don't run away from a problem. There's a problem.
The number 3 citizen suddenly is belonging to the opposition party. Makes the Senate now rule control by the opposition. Definitely there will be a shock. I think the ability to amend ourselves, to adjust ourselves to that shock is what is happening. I'm sure very soon things will normalize and everybody will now know that this is possible.
The Joint Senate and House of Representatives Committee on Electoral Matters and officials of the Independent National Electoral Commission are expected to meet on the budget estimates. Jokaya Disa, TVC News, Abuja.
Now, that decision of the leadership of the National Assembly not to reconvene on Tuesday or anytime soon has continued to generate reactions from Nigerians. Lawyers who spoke with TVC News say the National Assembly should reconvene quickly in order to consider INEC's budget for the sake of national interest, while others fault INEC and the executive arm of the government that they are taking the legislative arm for granted by recalling the lawmakers from their rightful recess.
The timetable for the election came up over 6 calendar months ago. So what stopped them from presenting the budget at the same period when they drew the timetable for the election? Now, this is where we find ourselves. What is the way out? The National Assembly should show maturity and consider this particular issue as a matter of utmost national interest and reconvene so that that particular supplementary budget for INEC will be passed or will be considered and passed where necessary.
They are trying also to use the opportunity to change the leadership of the National Assembly. Why should the leadership of the National Assembly, which is bending over backwards, trying to accommodate this ineptitude on the part of INEC and the executive and the failure to plan and anticipate correctly, why should they bend over backwards, reconvene the National Assembly so that they can be changed?
The national leader of the Nigeria's ruling All Progressives Congress has declared that the party will not give automatic tickets to aspirants in the 2019 election. He says all aspirants seeking to fly the party's flag next year will pass through direct primary elections to emerge. Bola Ahmed Tinubu spoke at a stakeholders meeting of the party held in Lagos. TVC's senior political correspondent Ayodele Ozugbakun was there.
With few weeks left before the commencement of party primaries ahead of the general elections, the nation's political space is already awash with flurry of activities. Members of different political parties are consulting and strategizing on how best to secure and strengthen their bases. The All Progressive Congress in Lagos, the primary constituency of the national leader of the party, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is not resting on its oars. The party intends to consolidate its firm political grip in the state where it has held sway since 1999. This stakeholders meeting attracted all the bigwigs of the party and the executive governor of Lagos State, Mr. Akinwumi Ambode. Tinubu set the tone for the meeting by tasking members to mobilize towards registering new APC members and collection of permanent voter cards.
The number one agenda is that we are going to register additional members, new members. We must open our register throughout the state. And hold me responsible if you don't have your membership card at the end of the registration. We are going to use only membership card of APC for primaries.
Tinubu, speaking in Yoruba language, told aspirants seeking positions into various offices to work hard to scale through a rigorous process likely to be determined by direct primaries.
Odiba lórí number register, Odiba lórí PVC. Kò sójú ṣáájú bẹ́ẹ̀, gbàmígbàmí ò sí.
Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode charged party members to bring more people to the party.
If we know that Lagos State is truly controlled by APC, we will champion a revolution that has never been witnessed before in this country. That means each member of our great party will now determine who becomes the president of this country, and by so doing, we create the championship that Lagos State has the votes and Lagos State has the numbers to make things happen in this country.
The Lagos State APC, at the end of the stakeholders meeting, passed a vote of confidence on the party's national chairman, Comrade Adams Aliyu Oshomole, and urged him to continue in the direction he's leading the party.
Our national chairman, Adams Aliyu Oshomole, has the support of every one of us in what he's doing presently, and he should continue. Those who support the motion to say hi.
Ayodele Zubaku, TVC News, Lagos.
Coming up on TVC News Hour. A new comptroller for the Kaduna-Katsina Customs Area Command assumes duty. We'll have details of that story and more after this short break. Stay with us. You're watching TVC News Hour. Despite the recent political happenings recorded in the country, some elder statesmen say Nigeria will experience a peaceful election in 2019. Leading the pack of the senior citizens is former Chief of General Staff Oladipupo Diya. Speaking at an event in Lagos, General Diya said that the recent political moves are expected during every election year. He is confident, however, that President Muhammadu Buhari will be victorious in 2019. Third Republic Senators Anthony Adefuye and Femi Okuromu also asked politicians to be guided by ideology rather than selfish interests.
Look at our president now. He was cool, calm, and collected, and he has hope. He won all the by-elections. He did not, despite all the tumult. It will be well. You will see the result of the 2019 election.
Since 1999, this has been the trend. It's a National Assembly of you chop, I chop. In fact, there was a time they told the the executive to divide the budget into three. They take one, and the judiciary will take one. That's how simply they see it. They don't see the people at all.
We need to go back to genuine politics. And genuine politics consists of political parties that are built around certain philosophies.
There is going to be a divine thunderstorm anytime from now to restructure and to transform the virtues of the country, which she has lost over time.
The new comptroller for the Kaduna-Katsina Customs Area Command, Oyeleke, has assumed duty. He was posted from Bauchi. He took over from Comptroller Kayode Olumishere, who is now the Comptroller Zone C Federal Operations Unit of the Nigeria Customs Service. Comptroller Kayode has been taking charge of the Kaduna-Katsina Customs Area Command for more than a year. The newly posted Comptroller promises to build on the achievements recorded by his predecessor.
I hereby hand over Kaduna-Katsina Area Command to the incoming Comptroller Oyeleke OR. I wish him best of luck and all guidance.
The CGC directive that taking over and handing over should take place within a shortened period. I have taken over from Comptroller Olumishere Kayode. I hope I will continue from where I stopped.
The customer eligibility policy of the federal government has started yielding fruit, with 5 industrial customers presently buying electricity directly from generation companies. The Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, made this known at the 29th stakeholders meeting, which held in Minna, Niger State. Correspondent Azeezat Olaoluwa gives the rest of the story now.
The most pressing challenge in the power sector lies at the distribution level, particularly the need to install and invest in equipment that will deliver up to 2,000 megawatts of available energy. The customer eligibility policy was put in place by the minister in 2017 in order to improve the distribution side of electricity and facilitate better power supply to consumers who consume 2 megawatts and above.
The most urgent problem at the distribution levels today is the need to install and invest in equipment to deliver available energy that stands in the region of 2,000 megawatts today. I've heard mainstream again confirming or attesting to the efforts that they are making as one of the several GENCOs to increase power production output.
I will again laud the Honourable Minister of Power, Works and Housing on the declaration of eligible customers, which comes at a time when market participants were seeking stabilization of revenue and development of a matured market. This move by the Honourable Minister has also increased our shareholder confidence and improved our commitment towards speeding up our various initiatives, all centered around an improved power sector in Nigeria. For instance, since the commencement of the eligible customer market, we have so far entered into power purchase agreement with 5 eligible customers and executed a transmission use of system agreement with the Transmission Company of Nigeria for these customers, and delivery commenced in May 2018.
Fashola also speaks on the meter asset provider, which he says will address the meter supply gap, relieve the discourse of the financial burden of providing meters.
The other problem is the supply of meters to consumers. And I believe these two issues of distribution and supply of meters rank the highest in the feedback from the stakeholders in the industry. In order to address these problems, I issued guidelines as the law prescribed and directives to appropriate institutions for them to act. That policies are not an end in themselves. Perhaps the best way to describe policies is that they represent our expressions of our intent, our hopes and our aspirations, and they must be embraced when they are declared. They must be nursed and nurtured to deliver on all their capacities and all their possibilities.
The provision of 701 billion naira payment assurance guaranteed by government is to give comfort to investors in the generation side of the value chain. Habida Lawal, TVC News, Abuja.
One of the presidential aspirants under the platform of the People's Democratic Party and Gombe State Governor Ibrahim Dankwambo has said that what matters to him is the improvement in the lives of Nigerians and the general well-being of the country. He made this known after his meeting with the executive of the PDP in Ogun State and his closed-door meeting with former President Olusegun Obasanjo at his presidential library. He explained that he worked as Accountant General under former President Obasanjo, and that was part of his reason for visiting Obasanjo.
No, what matters to me is to improvement in the lives of our people and improvement in the well-being of this country. Most importantly, let me say we are here today to interact with our party members and share experiences on the way to move the party forward, and also to offer ourselves for service. But like I also say, it's not a do or die affair. That whoever that is better, this country is greater than any one particular person.
Electricity workers in Abuja picketed the Transmission Company of Nigeria, calling for the immediate sack of its managing director, Usman Mohammed. The workers accused Mohammed of incompetence and lack of adherence to conditions of service. Carrying placards with varying inscriptions, the electricity workers urged President Muhammadu Buhari to immediately sack the TCN boss. They warned of nationwide strike if their demands were not met after the two-day picketing exercise. The workers had in 2017 protested against the replacement of then managing director Atiku Abubakar with Mohammed.
We demand that UG must be sacked. Yes, sir. He is incompetent. Yes, sir. Many of you can see the seal of Federal Inland Revenue. It takes an incompetent MD. As an accountant. As an accountant also by profession. It takes an incompetent MD, and I know it could be one of those of his braggings, possibly to tell them that let them seal up the place, it is not his father's house. How can an MD who works for people and who must pay tax to federal government refuse to pay tax to the extent that they seal up the office? This is the highest of irresponsibility.
Lack of adherence to condition of service, interference in union activities. He's the MD, he's the president of the union. He has polarized our union. He has interfered so much in our union, so much so that we find it difficult to govern.
We are appealing to all stakeholders, the presidency, the National Assembly, Discourse, GEMCOS, Ministry, especially Ministry of Labor, to intervene immediately. In the absence of intervention from these stakeholders, after expression of these 2 days warning,
Borno State Governor Kashim Shettima has fulfilled his promise of providing full scholarship to an indigene, Israel Galadima, who scored the highest mark of 364 in the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination. Correspondent Sharon Ijason now gives details.
Officials from the Borno State government took time to visit Israel Galadima's school of choice, following government's promise to grant him full scholarship for excelling in the UTME exam, popularly known as JAMB, in spectacular fashion. The State Commissioner for Higher Education, who represented the governor, says Governor Shettima believes that one of the best ways to fight the Boko Haram ideology is to heavily invest in free, compulsory, functional, productive and attractive education in Borno State.
The Executive Governor of Borno State, Honorable Kashim Shettima, was very proud of Israel's record of excellence. The governor was particularly happy that at a time when most part of the news associated with Borno has been about the unfortunate Boko Haram insurgency, we had something of a national pride associated with a son of Borno State.
After reading the governor's remarks, officials of the Borno State government presented a check of 5 million naira to the management of the school. The registrar of Covenant University made a short remark following the development.
It's very rare to see this kind of gesture in the Nigeria of today. Or possibly you'll have just felt, okay, congratulations with one of us giving 500,000 and then forget about it, or even encourage him to do something else. But this is something unique, and we trust that it will inspire more younger people from that region to take their education very seriously.
He's destined for greatness. You know, even in his WAEC result, it was outstanding. He had 7 A's and 2 B's. He didn't give us any challenge. He was well composed, and can be sure that he's destined for greatness. Well, for that which Borno State government have done, we are gladdened.
Doris Yaro, who represented the family, could not hide her emotions as she appreciated the Borno State governor.
I want to thank our amiable governor, Shettima. He is a unique governor. I'm from Borno State. We've went through so many governors, but he is a different one, and we are so grateful to him.
Out of the more than 1.6 million candidates that sat for the 2018 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, 17-year-old Israel Galadima scored the highest, 364 out of the total score of 400. He promised to give back to the people of Borno State after he completes his education.
Alhaji Kashim Shettima really beats my expectations, sir. I would like to say thank you. Thank you for your work in Borno State in various ways, education, infrastructure. I thank you so much, sir.
The scholarship offered to Master Israel Galadima, an exceptional indigene of Borno State who hails from Biu in the southern part of Borno State, is for a 5-year degree program in electrical electronics engineering at the Covenant University. Sharon Ijason, TVC News, Lagos.
Now, outside Nigeria, Italian Prime Minister says 22 people have been confirmed dead in the Genoa bridge collapse. He added that 16 people were injured, 9 of them in serious condition. It is currently unclear why a section of the bridge collapsed, but authorities are looking at possible structural failure. Emergency responders are at the scene to rescue trapped persons. Firefighters say a section of a viaduct on the A10 motorway collapsed on Tuesday, with cars and trucks trapped in the rubble. And that wraps it up on TVC News Hour, but you can get updates on our website at tvcnews.tv and also on all our social media platforms. The handle to use is at TVC News NG. Thank you for watching. I am Azeezat Olaoluwa. Bye for now.